Hello everyone on Facebook, bear with me a second whilst I just start off the Zoom chat. Right, just wait for a couple on Facebook to join in. We've got a few people on Zoom now, let's admit them. So everyone that's watching on Facebook, you are also able to attend on Zoom if you want some one-to-one tuition from our apprentices. They will be live on the Zoom to talk you through stuff. Hello everyone on Zoom, good to see you all. Thank you to Gwyl and Martin for joining me this morning, and Martin and Phil for sending in their opposites. Gwyl, did you do it in the end? I can't remember. Gwyl did. He spoke me through it. So for those of you that were here last week, we looked at a side of a single sword fight. Single sword is a generic term. It's not an historical weapon. It's how we train, teaching you generic movements for a one-handed sword-based weapon. I'm just going to turn Zoom down so everyone on Facebook doesn't hear all the Zoom chat. If anyone on Zoom needs to contact or speak to me, just wave frantically and I'll turn my volume up, but my volume's down at the moment. Today we're going to start up with a nice warm-up, 7 or 8 minute warm-up. Then we're just going to have a quick look at the single sword fight, and then we're going to go over the opponent's part. So we're going to do the same fight but the opposite side. Then at the end there's a little project which I'm going to tell you about, which I'd like you all to take part in if you desire. So we're going to start off with a warm-up. There won't be any music. Last time I used music on Facebook told me off, so unfortunately you just have to listen to my dulcet tones as I speak to you, you poor things here. I've got a timer, so I've probably just gone out of shot. So we've got 6 exercises. I haven't got a table with me today, hang on a second. Very unorganised today. I'm going to use a little chair so I can have all my bits down there. There we go. So we're just going to start off with touching our toes. So arms out to the side, right hand to left foot, left hand to right foot. And we're going to do that for, bear with me a second. We're going to do that for 40 seconds. So just warming up gently, warming up those legs. Come up each time, so you're not just moving one hand to the other, one hand to one foot and then to the other. You're coming up each time. That's it. 20 seconds to go. Feel that nice stretch down the back of your hamstring. I've had quite an energetic day today, so I'm quite shattered, but this is quite nice. Stretching out those muscles. Few more seconds, 5 seconds left. Couple more. And there you go. Just rest for 20 seconds. The next one we're going to do is running on the spot. So we're going to get our knees up as far as we can. It's not just about taking your feet off the floor. Really get those knees up. Got 8 more seconds of rest. We're about to start in 3, 2, 1. 40 seconds. Get your knees up. Go as fast as you can, but make sure you're getting those knees nice and high. Get that blood pumping. Keep going. I'll tell you what, 40 seconds is longer when you do an exercise. That's us halfway. 15 seconds to go. Get those knees up. Last 10. Keep it going. 3, 2, 1, and resting. Whew. Just had a message come up. I don't know what that was. I'll get to that in a bit. Oh. Right, next one is basketball. So we're going to grab up a ball, we're going to pick a ball, throw it in a net even. So you're squatting down, picking up a ball, scoring a 3-pointer. 40 seconds. If any of you have got a net, you can see how many points you can score. Make sure you give it a little jump. 15 seconds left. Last few seconds. That's it, 20-second rest. Whew. Next we're going to open the gate. So we're just going to open each leg, open up the rotator cuffs. Ooh, out of breath today. 5 seconds. Okay, in your own time. Ooh, who have we got here? Hello, Duff. Yes, I am knackered. Okay, just keep opening up the legs. Change direction, so you're bringing it in. And then a few more in the out. Ooh, 20 seconds rest. Hi Crystal, hi Stacey. Okay, so next we're going to do squats all the way down, making sure your knees aren't dropping in, all the way up. If you want to make it a little bit harder, squat jumps. So you're going to come down as you come up, jump off the floor. If you're feeling very energetic, turn in. So 40 seconds. I think I'll just settle for a few squat jumps now. 20 seconds left. Last 10. Ooh. Started off with too much enthusiasm, burnt out way too quickly. Last exercise is side lunges. Step to the side, step to the other side. So you're kind of traversing left and right. 3 seconds, here we go. To the side, back up, and the other side. Whew. Ten seconds left. That's it, and just shake out your legs. That's time. Okay, let me just set the timer. Whew. Stupid advert, hang on a second. Okay, right. So now we're just going to go through some of the techniques we've done over the last few weeks. So everyone get into an on guard position. Right foot forward, left foot back. I appreciate Facebook, sorry again, you're mirrored. This is my right foot. It may show up on your screens as my left, but that is my right. Okay, advance, 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 retreat, retreat, advance, retreat, single passing step forward, so you're taking your back foot to the front, retreat, 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 lateral step to the left, advance, single passing step forward, lateral step to the right, retreat, retreat, traverse front right, recover, traverse front left, recover, traverse back left, recover, traverse back right, recover. double passing step back. So 2 steps, 1, 2, advance, advance, double passing step forward, 1, 2, single passing step back, retreat, lateral step to the right, advance, lateral step to the left, single passing step back, and shake your legs out. Whew. How are we doing? All good? Give us some thumbs up on Facebook. Hello Kieran, nice to see you. Okay, so last week I brought along the wooden spoon. This week I'm back to swords. I miss my sword too much. This sword has gone through every exam that I've ever done as a student, as an apprentice, and it's the same sword I always teach with. Blade's been replaced a few times. It's a different hilt and the handle's not the same as the original, but apart from that, it's the same sword. No, genuinely, this is the same sword. The only difference is the rubber grip has fallen off, but this sword has gone through every single exam that I've ever done. So we're going to start off with the lack of scabbards. I'm just going to put the sword into my belt loop. So we're just going to recap last week's routine very, very quickly. Okay, so, oops. We're going to start off, our sword is sheathed, so we're not ready for fighting. We're going to avoid, so we're going to go traversing back left, at which point I grab the handle of my sword ready. I'm then going to traverse back right. As I'm here, I'm going to bring the sword out. I'm then going to traverse left, and as I do that, I'm going to parry 5A by moving my head out of alignment, creating a hanging parry. So as their blade hits, it falls down. I'm then going to pass forward, cutting to the 3. I'm then going to pass forward again, cutting to their 4. Molinello, pass forward, cutting to their 5, which they parry. They're then going to knock it to the side. I'll explain what movement they're going to do in a moment, which takes our sword down. I'm still maintaining eye contact. They're going to cut at our head. We're going to duck by rotating, and as we come up, they're cutting for our 3. So we're going to pass back into a parry of 3, pass back into a parry of 4, pass back into a parry of 2, pass back into a parry of 7. We're then going to leave our feet where they are. We're going to lean forward. We're going to attack their 7. Seeding attack, they're going to come for our 3. We parry 3. We then go for their 3. They're going to parry 3. They come for our 4, but instead of going to 4, we're going to come to a high 1. I'm then going to bind their blade over. As it gets to the halfway mark, I step in and grab their wrist. I'm going to knee their forearm. I'll go over that in a second. I'm then going to bring their arm over. I'm going to step in. I'm going to hit their forearm with my pommel. That makes them lose their blade. I drop my blade. I hit them, so I make sure the blade hits nicely on the edge onto their stomach, and I pull through. They're going to stagger back, and I'm going to finish with a nice lunge, maybe a bit of a twist into their stomach, pull the blade out for them to die a nice death. Now, a couple of things. First of all, when you knee this part here, down the forearm, you've got all the tendons to the hand, okay? So the reason we knee this is to loosen their grip. It's hard to do it to yourself, but if you have a relaxed hand and you place your thumb kind of on the soft tissue of your forearm and you squeeze in, you'll notice your fingers curl in. So that's not me moving my fingers, that's me pressing the tendons. So what's happening, as I knee into this part here, it makes my hands grip and loosen. So straight away my grip on the sword has been loosened. As this comes through here, a pommel to that same part, sorry, lifting my hand up, a pommel to that same part makes the grip completely full and the sword will fall out. Okay, now for stage combat purposes, you don't want to hit with the pommel. That's going to hurt and potentially cause some damage. So you overreach. So the pommel's coming over the arm, if you can see here, and you're making contact with your own hand or the forearm, but you're reverse energy, and so the energy is popping back. Okay, so just remember in this choreography to still use the technique that's behind everything. Everyone good on Zoom? Thumbs up, yes, yes, yes. Lovely. Jill, did you catch up and go through the routines? Are you happy with that first part? Lovely, well done. Thumbs up on Facebook if you knew last week's part and that was a nice recap and you already got it. That's fantastic. Now it is time to learn the opposite part. So as I go through it, I'm going to remind you of what the opposite part is doing and why you're doing that attack. I set the apprentices a little bit of homework last week and I got a few back and there's some nice variations. So some of them had similar moves to what I'd already put down as the choreography. Others had come up with different ideas. Neither is right, wrong or better, just a different approach to it. And some of the stuff the apprentices came up with I liked very much. And it was nice to see, gave me a few ideas. I then discussed it with them as well as to why I went with my idea and not theirs. But any idea is a good idea as long as it's safe and as long as it looks good. That's my motto mainly. Okay, so we have learned A's part. A started with 2 avoidances. So they avoided to the left, they avoided to the right, and then the third one was an avoid with a hanging parry. So for a B, I'm now going through B's part. I'm going to start a little bit further back. We're doing this on 3 passing steps. When I do it slowly, I'll probably put single passing steps in. Just going through it slowly, naturally the movement requires you to do single passing steps. But when you put it to speed, it would be 1 single passing step and then 1 double passing step to each of the movements. So I'm coming in, I'm now a B, I'm coming towards A to attack. I've got my left foot forward. As the attack first happens, I'm stepping forward onto my right foot. So that's my first single passing step. And I'm doing a diagonal cut from my open position to my closed position, from high line to low line. So as it comes in, my first attack is here. Okay, as that move finishes, I'm allowing the momentum to bring my blade up to the high line again. I'm doing another diagonal cut, this time from closed to open, high to low again, and I'm going to start my double passing step here. I'm continuing, slight Molinello, this time is a straight cut down. As it cuts down here, the hanging parry happens and my blade slides off. So the purpose of a hanging parry is you block and you defend, but as the blade hits, the only direction it can go is down, which is why this downward cut is why I put it in place and not a side cut. If there's a side cut onto a hanging parry, the blade would slide up. So we want this downward motion, bringing the blade down. So let's just do those first 3 moves again. On guard position, left foot forward, diagonal, single passing step, double, and it slides down to here. Good, let's do that once more. Left foot is forward, diagonal, this next 2 on double passing step to here, and it slides down. Good. So at this point, A's have done a traverse and a hanging parry. They recover and they're going to cut for my 3. So again, 3 passing steps, 1 single, 1 double, and I'm going to parry my 3, my 4 and my 5. So we have a single passing step here on my 3, and then I start my double, 4, 5. Let's do that again. So I've cut down onto the hanging, slid through. First attack comes in. Reason I'm doing a single on this first one is I can use my body to make it strong. It's my first defense. Using my body to make it slightly stronger parry. The next 2 come in. 4, 5. I'm a double. Okay. This is a 5 as opposed to a 5A, which is what the opposite part did. Martin did a 5A in the routine, which is lovely because it means you can do a shunt, which is a beautiful movement. It makes the next movements better than what I'm doing. The reason I've opted to go for a 5 and not a 5A is because I'm in a 4 beforehand. Leading into a 5 is a quicker and stronger position. To go to a 5A, I've got to drop the blade down and then push it up. It makes it slightly more awkward and slightly weaker parry in this instance. So even though the latter moves of Martin's choreography I preferred, I'm sticking with my original, which is the 5. So let's do that again. We've hit the 5A. Attack's coming in. Gone 3, 4, 5. Good. Let's put all of that together. So the first 6 moves. Single passing step, diagonal cut. Diagonal cut. Molinello with a 5A hanging. Coming for my 3, single passing, double onto the 4, and onto the 5. Good. So from this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quasi. So I'm bringing the blade up and I'm pushing their blade over here. So I'm not strictly binding. I'm not taking and controlling the blade down. I'm getting my blade into a strong position and I'm flicking the blade. Best way I can describe this without being in a classroom to demonstrate, and not that I've ever done this in my life, but I compare it to what I feel as casting off in fishing is. So imagine you've got a fishing rod here and you're flicking the blade. I'm using my thumb to push, creating the strength to the movement. So I start into my 5, bringing the blade down, quasi to knock it down here. At this point, I am now doing a cut to the head, and as I do this cut, I'm going to step forward. This is going to get us quite close, so just be aware of that. Hello, Sam. Good to see you. So as this blade comes across here, I'm stepping forward. I'm now going to do 4 attacks. So I'm going to cut to my opponent's 3. So it comes in here to a 3. These are on double passing steps. 3 to their 4 to their 2. So I'm getting close to the camera. Bringing the blade back again, and I'm going to go to their 1. They're parrying in a 7, but I'm calling it a 1 because that's their target area. It's their target area of 1. So without the footwork, we're going 3, 4, 2, 1. Nice and easy. We're just going to opposite sides. So on this side, then low line, this side, this side. So it just changes each time. Good. Let's go from this 5. So we're here. My left foot is forward. I glissade, step forward, cutting for their head. Safety note for you, make sure the blade reaches over their head. This is going to be hard to show you on a camera. Stage combat is always about reducing risk, but also reducing severity. So you've got to look at the worst case scenario. Now, I want the blade, the tip of the blade, to go past my opponent's head. This looks better because the audience can see when the duck happens that the blade actually has gone over where the target was. So there's a bit of a wow factor. So the audience gets quite nicely excited about it. In regards to reducing severity, obviously you never want an accident to happen. But there's a difference between the blade hitting the side of the head here, which is going to hurt, it's going to cause bleeding. Your partner's not going to be happy with you. But if you try and play it safe, what you'll end up doing is having the tip of the blade, if I can try and show you this, pulling back, which means the tip of the blade will end up passing the eye level. The severity of that injury is infinitely worse. So in regards to reducing the severity, we aim past the head, past the target, which means the severity of the injury would be lowered. Then to reduce the risk of the injury happening, we make sure the person that's doing the duck always touches the floor as they duck down, which makes sure they're always going low enough. And we make sure we've got our preps in place so the 2 partners are reading this correctly and they're working in sync, and that the person doing the cut is in control and can read when A's are ducking. So in regards to that, you always react on the prep. So when I've done the glissade here, my movement before the cut is to prep. So I'm going to pull the blade back. This is my prep. As I prep, that's when my partner ducks. So as I go for that cut, I know that I can read my partner. I know that my partner's already ducked. If I prep and my partner hasn't ducked, I don't go for the attack. So I prep the movement here. When it happens at speed, it happens simultaneously. But I prep, they read that prep and they duck, which then gives me permission to go for that attack. Okay, so combining all of those elements together makes the move safe, even though when people do this for the first time, there is that element of nervousness. So again, whenever you do something with a partner, you always do it slowly first of all, so there's no energy behind the movement. So if contact is made, it's made in a very weak contact, so you know each party is safe. Okay, good. Enough of my spiel. Cool, that was a lot of talking. Right, okay, let's go back to 5. So we're in the 5 here. We glissade, we push away, we prep, my partner ducks, I step forward, cut into their head. Double passing step. So the first one on the 3 and the 4, and the second one on the 2 and the 1. Good. Let's put all of that together. So starting off, left foot forward, passing forward, on a diagonal cut, double passing, 1. Oh, sorry, my bad, gone wrong. Doing in too many diagonals. Let's start again. Left foot forward, single passing step forward on a diagonal, double passing step on a diagonal, Molinello straight down to their hanging 5A, blade slides off. Cut into my 3, single passing step back on the 3, double on the 4 and on the 5. Bringing it down into a quasi, prep, they duck, I step forward and cut for their head. I'm now cutting for their 3, for their 4, for their 2 and for their 1, which they parry in a 7. Everyone good so far? Coping? Thumbs up on Facebook if you're okay. Everyone good on Zoom? Good, good, good. Nice to see it. Right, next bit's nice and easy. Emily's gone to Facebook. I'm assuming there's an issue on her Zoom somewhere. Hello, Emily. Hope you're okay. Next bit's nice and easy. It's the stationary bit. There's no footwork here. So I've attacked for A's 1 position. They've parried in a 7. Okay. Most of this is seeding, which means the blades stay together. There is a slight separation, but think of the blades working together at this point. So I've cut for their 7. They've parried it. They're going to lean forward to my 7. So I'm going to lean back here. So I'm defending my left leg into a 7. Imagine their blade is here. I'm going to come round to the outside and I'm going to thrust at their arm. They're going to lean back and they're going to come into a 3. They're then going to come for R3. This is where the blades will separate slightly. They'll drop the tip of their blade, coming for my 3. I'm going to lean back into a 3. So their sword is now here. I'm coming over the top and round their blade, leaning forward, coming for their 4. But as you'll remember on the opposite side, rather than parrying in a 4, they're going to parry into a high 1. Okay, so let's start that again. We've just cut at their 7. So we're in this position here. I'll turn it around this way for you. They're going to come for my 7, so I'm going to lean back into the 7. I'm then going to thrust at their 3. They're going to thrust at my 3, which is my right arm. I'm then going to thrust at their 4, which is their left arm, and they're going to parry in a high 1. Do that once more. So cut at their 1, they're parrying in a 7. They thrust at ours, we come back to a 7. Thrust in for their 3. They thrust at R3. We come over the top. We go for their 4, which they parry in a high 1. Everyone good? Slightly confusing, but at least you don't have to worry about your feet at this point. Okay, so what they're now going to do is they're going to bind my blade over. And as they bind their my blade over, they're going to step forward and they're going to grab my wrist. And they're then going to knee my forearm. Now at this point, as an actor, we know this isn't going to hurt. I can just stand there, they can do all this manipulation and my body moves, but the audience aren't going to believe anything. It's not going to look real. You have to create the reaction. Reaction is emotional and it is physical. It's not just about saying ow and moving the body. It's about embodying that emotion, embodying that feeling, knowing how it feels. I strongly recommend anyone that does stage combat to go to some form of martial art and do a bit of sparring. Go with someone that you're comfortable with and do a little bit of sparring work. You need to understand what it feels like to be in these scenarios if you're going to recreate them. You know, when it comes to acting, I'm not saying you should be 100% method, but you do have to be able to use emotional recall. And if you've never been in that kind of scenario in the past, how do you know how to recreate it? So I strongly recommend anyone to go along and do a little bit of sparring work, come to a stage combat class with myself or anyone else with the APC. We play a few games which gets you into that safe environment, but recreating it as well. So in regards to this, my arm's been bound over here and I can't move it. It's been grabbed as well and the knee is coming up to hit me here. I'm just going to pop my elbow, my shoulder, sorry, slightly. So there's going to be a slight popping movement to recreate the ricochet of that knee coming into my forearm. So from this position here, my arm gets bound over. I take that hit. My arm then gets bound back and I'm opening it up so my forearm is facing up. The hit comes down onto my forearm. Now, as that hit happens, you'll feel a shudder. You will feel it. Even if it's safe and it's soft, there'll be a contact there, so you will feel this. don't let go of the blade straight away. If that hit comes down and you let go of the blade, you do not have control, okay? Let the hit happen, and then you choose where you want that blade to go. So as that hit's happened, if I want the blade over there, I can then pop the blade and throw it and disarm it in a direction that I know is safe, is away from the audience. No other actors are standing, and no stage management has walked onto stage for whatever reason and I've now just thrown a sword at them. You control where that movement is, okay? I've just had the Zoom message, so we've got 10 minutes left. So we're in this position here. We get bound over, take the hit, bind back, take the hit again, and you decide where that goes, okay? After this point, A's are going to step back and they're going to place the sword in between your ribs and your hip, so it can come in with relative force without causing you any injury or pain. It comes in and they're going to slide it through. You can then react to that. Now, you have a choice at this point. That blade can either hit and slice and you react to that, or as the cut comes in, you can jump back. And next week we're going to be looking at some technique, I'll get to that in a minute, in regards to how you make sure that avoids. But anyway, the blade hits, okay, for the purposes of this exercise, it pulls through, you're going to have a stagger back, and then they're going to lunge. Now when they lunge, they're going to aim to be just short of you. You're going to grab the blade, you're going to grab the blade, and you want to place your thumb over the tip. You can then bring it into your own stomach here and grip it as much as you can, and they can then use force to manipulate the blade as if they're digging it in, but you're in control of that as well. But use your thumb, okay? That stops you putting the tip in. They're blunted tips, it's safe, but of course you don't want any injuries, so just place your thumb there to protect yourself. Whew, there we go. So that is part B. So let's go through from the top all of part B for you. Okay, so left foot forward, diagonal cut, double passing step, diagonal Molinello into a 5, it slides down, they come back to our 3, single passing step, double into the 4 and to the 5, bind with a quasi, step forward on your cut to the head, then double passing steps, 3, 4, another double, 2, 1. Now we're going to slide back to our 7, thrust at their 3, parry our 3, thrust at their 4. They're going to bind the blade over. We're going to twist our body slightly, take the hit, arm comes back, make your body look uncomfortable. Strike comes to the forearm, we lose the blade, take the hit, stagger back, and we take the sword into our stomach. That is a 21 move fight. I think it would be regarded as a 20 move paired fight. Technically speaking, that's a minimum exam fight. So there we go. In 2 weeks, we've technically learnt that. However, we need a lot more hours practice before we can ever think of doing an exam. What I'd like to do now is something that... oh, have I got time? Ooh. Yes, very quickly. Basically, this morning I was running an apprentice class and an apprentice mentioned something to me which was really good. They did a workshop with Kev McCurdy the other day, and Kev did some exercises where he did the routine to the camera and they responded to that. So I'm going to do part A so you can respond with your part B when you're practicing. It might work, it might not. We've got to get it in sync. But anyway, here we go. So, Zoomers, hopefully you won't lose me in this. If you do, quickly switch to Facebook, because there's a couple of things I just want to say at the end. So, I'm an A, you guys are a B. If you want to do this at the same time, I've got to try and get this right. Fingers crossed. I just put my cheat sheet around there, so I try and remember. Okay, so we're going to do this nice and slowly. The first attack comes in, I'm traversing back left. Next attack comes in, I'm traversing back right. I'm taking the blade. I'm traversing, hanging 5, coming round, I'm cutting to your 3, cutting to your 4, cutting to your 5, you're bind and quasi, you cut at my head, I duck, you're coming to my 3, you're coming to my 4, you're coming to my 2, you're coming to my 1, I parry in a 7, I lean for your 7, you come for my 3, I go for your 3, come for my 4, which I parry as a high 1, I bind over, grabbing your arm, have a bit of a struggle, knee, bringing it over. I'm going to step in, pommel to the forearm, they lose it, place and pull, finishing on a lunge, twist, twist, and pull the blade out. There we go. So on Facebook, you can practice by going to the end of this video and fighting with me. Brilliant. Well, I think we're going to run out of time very quickly. So just to finish off, first thing, next week, we're going to do some technique again. For those of you that were with us a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I was missing Phil Rafferty, my apprentice, and I've got a makeshift Phil in my garage now. And I showed you what my Phil looked like, and it would be good if you had your own Phil. So for next week, try and recreate a Phil. If you know Phil, maybe put some faces of him. We're going to have, I want to have a load of Phil images sent to me over this week. Please post them on the Fight Right Facebook. I want to see lots of your versions of Phil, and we're going to be using that for the class next week. Also, I mentioned last week a project that I'm hopefully going to be doing in the summer. I still haven't heard back in regards to funding, but I would like to try and go ahead with this. And what it means is I need material from you guys. So you now know side A and side B. So if you can, please try and do a self-isolation version of this. So it may be that you fight the screen and you then fight the opposite part, filming it, and you edit it some amazing way together. You can just see my little girls coming out here now. They're doing a little bit of hula hooping. This is Hannah, and the little one here is Emily, if you've never met her before, and the bigger one, that's not that much bigger, is Susan. You all right, girls? Do you want to join in? Yeah, you want to join in. Wave to everyone. So hopefully we can do a little bit of a project. If you're living with someone that does stage combat, maybe you just film it partnered together. Again, obviously nice and safely. Don't do anything you're uncomfortable with or unsure of. But send me in some versions of this. It could be you do it without a sword. It could be that you do it with different kitchen utensils. By that I mean blunt things like rolling pins and wooden spoons. It could be that you're doing it outside with a broomstick or anything. I don't know, be imaginative, but send me any content you can, because I'm hoping to do a bit of a multimedia showcase of it, I suppose, at some point. So send it over and I'll be putting this all together and be presented on the YouTube channel as and when I get round to pulling my finger out and setting up the YouTube channel, which I've been on about for weeks now and still haven't done. But I will get there at some point. So please send me some footage. Please send me footage of you practicing this technique. Any of the techniques we've done over the last 9 weeks. So staff spinning, baton work, eskrima work, knife work, any of the drills we've done. Send me any footage, because the more footage I've got, the better content I can use to promote and talk about stage combat and try and get stage combat practiced more. So please send me that footage in. Anyway, Zoomers, wait there a second, just so I can say goodbye to you in a minute. First of all, goodbye everyone on Facebook. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.